Hi everybody, welcome back to our weekly live stream. My name is Alicia and today I'm going to talk about everyday uses of present perfect tense. Present perfect tense is a grammar point that many of you have asked questions about. So today I'm going to share some patterns that you can use in your everyday life. I'm going to talk about using questions with present perfect tense to make greetings. I'm going to talk about how to use it for news and reports, and I'm going to talk about just some general life experience questions and responses. So, as you join, please send a message in the chat. I see YouTube. Hello, everybody on YouTube. I see you first today. Ashu and Silvio and Manoj and Shun and Ramat and Nadim. Hello, everybody. Great to see you. And I see Facebook as well. Hi, Facebook. I see Ronak and Chuck and Hassan and Buddha and Jesus and I and Adideji. Hi, everybody. So please send a message and please like and share the video also so other people can find it. I'm going to share the video now too. If you missed it, today's topic is everyday uses of present perfect tense. A lot of you have asked questions about this, so I'm excited to discuss it today. If you have questions during today's lesson, please send the messages in the chat. I will try to check as much as possible. But if you want more information about today's grammar point, you can find it on the English Class 101 YouTube channel, or of course from the lessons on the EnglishClass101.com website. So please check that out. There are lots of resources for you. Okay, I will share the video. Done. And then I had one thing I wanted to mention to everybody too. I shared this last week. I shared this photo last week. If you have not seen this, we have a weekly question and answer video session. This is a picture from when we were making this last week. But I've noticed a lot of people send in the chat maybe questions that are about a topic different from the lesson that I'm teaching live. So for those kinds of questions, if you want to send something directly, and then we can make a list of all your questions. Please, this series is called Ask Alicia. You can send your questions. You can check the link in any Ask Alicia video in the description of the video, but please send your questions for that to EnglishClass101.com/ask-Alicia. So for all of your little questions or things you've been wondering about, definitely send those. We're going to make some more of those. Actually, I'll make some more next week. So please check out that series for your small questions if there's something small you want to know. Okay, so with that, as I said, today we're going to talk about present perfect tense. Let's begin. Hi, everybody. There are lots of people here now. Great. Okay, I'm going to get started then. So, first, I want to review the present perfect tense. Present perfect tense, we're going to use present perfect tense, and we're going to use present perfect with the progressive or the continuous form. So, to kind of give a visual, to be able to see this grammar point, we use this tense for actions that started in the past. So there's something in the past, a beginning point in the past. This is a timeline. Here's now, in this case, watching this lesson, or teaching this lesson, if you're me, the past and the future. So for today's grammar point, present perfect tense is used for actions that started in the past and they continue to the present. Or the effect of that action continues to the present. So when we make sentences like, I have studied English for 3 years, or I have lived in this country for 3 years, those are examples of present perfect tense. Today I'm going to talk about this with progressive tense a lot too. So just a refresher, what is present perfect tense? It's for actions that started in the past and continue to the future. For more information about this grammar point, please check the English Class 101 YouTube channel too. Okay, So I want to first talk about how to use this grammar point in greetings. So this is a really great thing to do for intermediate students. If you want to go past like, hello, how are you? These are some more natural greetings that you can use, and they use the present perfect tense or the progressive tense as well. So here, first one, how have you been? So I've broken this down. How have you been? How have you been is like, how are you? But how are you since the last time I saw you? So imagine you're speaking to someone now. You're saying hello to someone now. Back here, you met them maybe, and they have been doing other things, but you haven't seen them in a long time. How have you been means in this period, when I didn't see you, like what were you doing? What was your status? How have you been? How have you been? I'm going to cover pronunciation points today too. So this how have you been, we reduce this part right here. So this how have becomes how've, and this y-o-u sounds like yeah. How have you been? How have you been? So this is a much more natural way to greet someone, especially if you have not seen them for a long time. How have you been? So to answer this question, a very simple answer is the most natural, and also it's just easy to remember. So how have you been? Good. How have you been? Busy. How have you been? A bit sick or a little sick. So just use a one word, just a simple adjective. Great, fine, good. How about you? So this is a good one to use to level up from how are you? How have you been? So please remember, you can use this only with people you have met before. So if this is a new person, you can't use how have you been. Use this with friends, family members, and so on. Okay, yeah, someone has another example. I've been good, Onialdo. Yeah, Onialdo in the YouTube chat says, I've been good. So using the present perfect tense in the response. I have been good since the last time I saw you. Great. How have I been? I've been great. Yeah, how has everybody else been? Yeah. And that's another point. I just used the expression, how has everybody else been? So if your subject, in this case, I'm using you. How have you been? If you want to talk about someone else, like for example, someone sick, you can use that same pattern, but you need to change you to, in this case, he or she. And you also need to conjugate your verb here to has. How has he or she been? So like a sick parent, for example. Oh, how has he been? How has she been? And so you'll hear the same reduction. How has he been? How has she been? Reduces to how has he been? How has she been? Okay, let's continue on to the next expression I want to talk about, which is, what have you been up to? What have you been up to? I practiced this one a lot in like a quick response session with my students one day, and this was a really fun one. What have you been up to? We make this very short in everyday speech. So you can see this part, what have you been? This is exactly the same as the first sentence or the first question I introduced. But we have this up to. This is like asking, what have you been doing? But up to, this what have you been up to sounds very casual and very friendly. So what have you been up to at native speed sounds like what have you been up to? What have you been up to? So when you respond to this question, what have you been up to? Not much. You can use the same response as what's up? Not much. Or you can say just work, just study, that kind of thing. Nothing much is a very natural response. But notice this question here, what? So this is a key difference from how have you been? How have you been is like asking, were you good? Were you busy? And so on. Not yet, no. So what have you been up to is asking about your activities, So study and so on. Okay. I am getting a message from control desk for a second here. What? Why? I don't understand. Okay, so let's move on to the next point here. You'll notice there's a grammar difference in this case. So, what have you been doing? What have you been doing? The difference here is right here. In this first one, I used up to end the sentence, to end the question. Here, I'm using the progressive form. What have you been doing? What have you been doing? So natural responses to this will use this ing form. I've been studying. What have you been doing? I've been studying, been working, been cleaning my house. So you can use that ing form to answer this question. Okay. Finally, I want to do one more, and then we'll take a quick break. So this question, be careful when you use this question. Where have you been? Where have you been is used in many cases when you're upset with someone, you're unhappy with someone. You were looking for someone, but you could not find them. Where have you been? So to answer this, you need to give a location. The person is asking about your location here. So where have you been? In the house, at the office. So these very quick responses are very natural. So try to use these when someone asks you one of these kind of greeting style questions. Okay, good. So that's a few examples of using the present perfect tense for greeting. So if you have questions, send them along, but I'm going to take a quick break. Okay, so if you have not seen it yet this year, as always, we have free stuff for you guys. So this week, I thought it would be really good to share a couple things that you can use with the present perfect tense. So like, for example, are we gonna use this camera today? Oh, I don't know. If not, we don't have to. But there's a couple of, these are all free PDFs we have on our website. But I thought a few of these would be really good for present perfect tense in your everyday life. One of them, this is, you'll see it in just a second, I think, maybe. But for now, this is the Business English PDF. So you can find all of these for free in the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. But actually, and we'll zoom in a minute, I think. On the back of this is a list of common job titles. For example, president or assistant manager, general manager, and so on. So I was thinking, and we'll see this later, we'll show it here. It's hard to see here, but there's a list of job titles on this Business English PDF, and I thought this would be a nice match, especially for part 2 of today's lesson, when you need to give information about who you've been talking to recently or who you've been meeting with recently. So I know many of you are trying to study English for career opportunities. So this might be a good one to get a few, this might be a good PDF, to find a few natural ways to explain someone's job title. And then there's also just some other good business English related phrases. So there are a lot more, but I want to focus on some kind of everyday vocabulary words that you can use with this grammar point too. So I'll share another one a bit later. But if you want to get all of these, like you can get all of these actually and more, they are from the link below the video on YouTube, above the video on Facebook. Please check that out. Everything is at EnglishClass101.com. Okay. So, if you're just joining, today's lesson is about everyday uses of present perfect tense. So if you have not already, please make sure to like the video and share the video so that other learners can find today's lesson. To refresh, if you're just joining, remember present perfect tense is used for actions that started in the past and continue to the present, or the effects of that action continue to the present. So with that, I want to go to the second part of today's lesson. This part is going to use this ing form, the progressive with present perfect tense here. So we use this when we really want to emphasize that an action started and is continuing, when we want to show that something is continuing and that perhaps it's going to continue even after the conversation into the future, we can use the progressive form. So part 2 of today's lesson is sharing recent news. So sharing recent news, or this is also useful for talking about work, like if you want to report on your recent activities at work. So, for example, if you're at a meeting or if you're explaining your work to someone, you can say, I've been working on. So preposition on is used here to introduce the topic. So for example, I've been working on this live stream, or I've been working on Ask Alicia, these sorts of things. What is the topic? What is the thing? Your project, in other words. If it's not a work-related situation, you can talk about like a personal project. So I've been working on my garden, or I've been working on my website. So a couple points. I hear many learners forget this V sound, Ive. This Ive is the contracted form of I have. I've been working on something. So please don't forget Ive. And then, of course, as I said, the ing. I've been working on something. Okay. Second, another example. I've been reading about. If you read the news a lot, or if you read a lot of books, if you're researching something, you can introduce the topic of your reading with this pattern. I've been reading about US politics. I've been reading about my favorite research topic. Or I've been reading about how to improve my website. So introduce the topic in this sentence. Same thing here. Don't forget your I've. You can use I have been reading about, I have been working on, but it sounds really stiff and kind of unnatural. So I recommend I've been. Nice, there's some good example sentences on the YouTube and Facebook chat. For YouTube, some examples. Angel says, I've been working on my new car. Great. Or I've been working, Felipe, I've been working on my next project. So I've been working on something. Preposition is on. I've been working on my research since last year. Nice. What else? Sawadee from Thailand. Hi. I've been reading about the universe. Good. On Facebook says, I've been working on my resume. Nice. Very nice. Nadie says, I've been listening maybe to podcasts about meditation, or I've been listening to like meditation CDs. I'm not exactly sure. Great. Okay. Nice examples, everybody. Okay. Let's move on to another one. This is one I've seen many questions about. So we're keeping this I've been pattern, but here I'm using the verb wanting. I've been wanting to. So a lot of students, a lot of learners ask, like, why is wanting used here? Like, wanting is like a state, right? I want to do something. Actually, next week's lesson is going to be about this topic. But I've been wanting to, for example, I've been wanting to see that movie. Like, let's say I've been wanting to see the new Spider-Man. I have not seen the new Spider-Man. Have you seen it? No? I hear it's good. Anyway, I've been wanting to see the new Spider-Man, for example. So why do we use wanting here? Like, why not use I want to see the new Spider-Man? We use the progressive form here to show, we're zoomed in right now. Oh, we can see it. Cool. That's fine. So to show, like, maybe, thank you, when we first learned, the first time we learned about the movie, in this case, the new Spider-Man movie, we thought, oh, I want to see that movie. But, like, I haven't seen it yet. I still haven't seen the movie. So from that point, when I learned about the movie and I thought, oh, I want to see it, I continuously wanted to see it. So I express that with, I've been wanting to see the new Spider-Man movie. This is the reason we use the want or wanting in the progressive form. I've been wanting to. Someone says, is it important to use the comma, perhaps, on the Ive? Yes, and this is not a comma. This is an apostrophe. The spelling is this, apostrophe. A-P-O-S-T-R-O-P-H-E, apostrophe. Yes, you must use an apostrophe here. Punctuation is very important. Punctuation is your friend. So, yes, you must use that there. But to kind of summarize, this is the reason we use wanting in the progressive form here. Good. So some of you are sending other examples. Great. I've been wanting to do my homework. Really? Very nice. Okay. I've been wanting to improve my English. Very nice. I've been wanting to travel to Hawaii. Great. I've been wanting to see Cold Pursuit. What's that? I don't know that. Is that a TV show? Is that a movie? I don't know. Okay, great. Example sentences. I've been wanting to propose to her, like to your girlfriend. Wow. Okay. I've been wanting to speak with Alicia. Woohoo! Cool. Thanks for joining live. Great. Nice examples. Let's go on to the last pair. I want to change the subject here, like literally change the subject from I've to he or she is also okay. The reason I want to do this, even though in many cases you're talking about your life, your work, the things you have been doing, if you want to talk about someone else, again, so a great example, like we talked about before, is like a sick person in your life or something like that. Anyway, my point is, when your subject is like he or she, you're talking about another person, or maybe it as well. Remember, this part right here conjugates. So we've been using I've been. When your subject is he or she, this apostrophe S refers to has. He has been, she has been. So please don't forget that. In everyday speech, we say he's been talking to me, she's been talking to me. So this is something you could use to describe like an ongoing, which means a recent, a continuing conversation at work or in your personal life. Like he's been talking to me about a new project, or she's been talking to me about a promotion. So you can use something like this with the verb talking, in this case, to explain a recent conversation you have had, like, what do I want to say? Like a conversation about the same topic that you've had a few times with someone. This is a natural way to express that. She's been talking to me about, he's been talking to me about. It isn't necessarily gossip, no. So if you're talking about a work project and you have regular meetings about this topic, for example, you could use this. So sometimes, yes, it is for gossip, like, oh, she's been talking to me about her new boyfriend, that kind of thing. Sure, true, but it's also used in non-gossip related situations. Let's see, Israel on Facebook says, what about the preposition about before an activity? Can I use an activity or verb? Yes, you can. Your example, I've been reading about swimming. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. That's fine. So before an activity is great. Activity or another topic, like a topic of discussion, great. Other examples, she's been talking to him about work. Great. Nice. All right, I'll finish off with this. Another one, a different subject, we. Again, when you use we as the subject, we'll go back to this v. We've been. If you are, for example, in a relationship or you're married or you're living with someone and you make decisions together with that person, you can use this. Like, we've been thinking about buying a house. We've been thinking about building a pool. We've been thinking about getting a dog. So these are, this is a great pattern to use for decisions you make with other people. We've been thinking about something. Okay, so this is for recent news, for giving reports. And in this part, yes, I focused a lot on using the progressive form here. This sounds very natural. Okay, great. We'll take one more break and then we'll finish with the last part, some question and response practice. So the first break, I showed you this business English PDF. I thought the job titles would be good to practice for those of you who are studying for career reasons. But for other reasons, actually this is funny. Somebody in the chat mentioned gossip. If you're interested in gossip and like romantic gossip, there is a romance and love related PDF. But this one actually has lots of like phrases you use for dates. Although that could be good for Valentine's Day. That's coming. Never know. Good luck. So if you want to pick up a few phrases for that, this one does exist. There is a romance one. That's good. But there's one more that I wanted to mention, which was the school. There it is. Your school related vocabulary. So this is the back. It says back to school, yes, but on the back there's a list of like common classes. So if you want to describe your studies, like I know many people are students, many of you are students, if you want to talk about your studies and you're looking for like a quick reference for the titles of your classes, there's 8 on the back here that you can take a look at. And of course, there are some other classroom related things here too. So this I thought would be good for students perhaps. And then of course, if you want to talk about your family members, there is a family PDF too with here a family tree and keywords for each family member. So you can take a look at these. So I thought these would be nice for today. But as I said, there are a lot. I don't even know how many, like 20 something, somewhere around there. I don't know. There are a lot of these. So if you are interested, these are free. You can download these from the link below the video on YouTube or above the video on Facebook. Please check the link in the description, not in the chat box. Though I think Chat Desk is sending a few things in the chat. So please take a look at that. I hope it's useful for you. All right, we are going to finish now with the last topic for today's lesson. If you're just joining, today's lesson is about everyday uses of present perfect tense, which we use to talk about actions that started in the past and continue to the present. So if you have not already, please do like and share the video so other people can find it. That would be great. Okay, let's go on to the last point for today. I want to talk finally about questions and responses for life experience. And I want to talk about natural ways to like kind of fit present perfect tense together with simple past tense. So these are some common questions about life experience. So you'll notice here, these are not using the progressive tense. I focused on progressive, the ing form here. I'm not going to focus on it here. These are for things that you want to ask about, like just general experience. For example, have you ever heard of? Have you ever heard of? Ever is an emphasis word. Have you ever heard of? Have you ever read? Have you ever heard of is more natural than do you know? So like I hear some people say like, do you know sushi? Like, right? Do you know sushi? Or like, do you know, this pop star? Do you know that? A more natural way, and this is the way native speakers ask the question, is have you ever heard of? Have you ever heard of sushi? Have you ever heard of this pop star? Have you ever heard of English Class 101? Check it out. Have you ever heard of, oh, made myself laugh. Okay, so use this instead of do you know. That's like a leveled up version of do you know. Similarly, have you ever read? I included this specifically as a pronunciation reminder. The spelling is R-E-A-D, but the pronunciation is read. Have you ever read? So spelling, no change, but the pronunciation does change. This is the past participle form of the verb read. Have you ever read that book? Have you ever read my blog? Have you ever read that story? So this is for written information. This is a question for information we get with our ears or just kind of more general information we learn about. For written information, use have you ever read? Have you ever read? Someone write, have you ever heard of India? Yes, of course. Great. Okay, I don't see other examples. Nice. Okay. Another one, very similar to have you ever heard of, is this one. Have you heard about? Okay, what's the difference here? Have you ever heard of and have you heard about? This one, I've labeled 1 and 2. 2 here is about a recent news topic. Like, have you heard about the president's latest speech? Or have you heard about tourism in the country recently? Have you heard about this new policy? We use this question for a recent thing. Have you heard about topic? So this pattern, have you ever heard of? This ever, as I said, is an emphasis word. So ever sounds more like in your whole life, in your like all of your life's experience. Have you ever heard of this thing? This one, no ever. Have you heard about? So this is another good pattern for gossip. Like, have you heard about her new boyfriend? Or have you heard about his new girlfriend? Or have you heard about what happened last week? So this is a very popular expression to begin a gossip-related conversation. Good. Okay. Finally, these two patterns, and then I'll talk about simple past a bit. Ooh, I gotta finish up. First, have you ever been to? This is great for travel. Great for travel. Have you ever been to India? Have you ever been to Thailand? Have you ever been to Japan? Have you ever been to, China? I forgot whether I said Japan or China. I was thinking ahead. All right. Have you ever been to China? Great. So this is a fantastic question you can use to talk about your travel experiences. Finally, a statement. I've never something that before. I've never something that before. I included this here, past participle verb, as a reminder, but I really want to share one specific pattern here. I've never heard that before, or I've never seen that before. So this is for something you have no life experience hearing, listening to, or seeing, watching. I've never seen that before. So when you see something new or you hear something totally new in your life experience, or you could use the verb eaten. Eaten. I've never eaten that before. Like you find a new food. Use the present perfect tense to describe that naturally and fluently. I've never eaten that before. And same thing here, I've. Okay, so to finish, I want to make a small point about using this with simple past tense. So these all use this have you ever pattern. And so when you answer these have you ever type questions or have you heard about, if your answer is yes, like for example, have you heard about the new Spider-Man movie? If your answer is yes, you can say yes, I have, or just yes, and then give a simple past tense response. Yes, I saw it on TV yesterday, or I saw news about it yesterday. Have you ever heard of sushi, for example? Yes, I ate it when I was in the US. So use a simple past tense response. You do not need to use a present perfect statement to give details. Give your details in simple past tense because you're talking about an experience that is finished. We use simple past tense for finished things. If, however, your answer is no, so have you heard about the new Spider-Man movie? No, I haven't. Done. That's it. No, I haven't. Or just no. Or have you ever heard of sushi? No, I haven't. So keep the simple present perfect tense there. So yes, give your details in simple past tense. No, give a simple answer in present perfect tense. Okay, good. So we'll finish there for today. That was a lot. Great. So I hope that this was helpful for you. Again, if you have questions about this grammar, please take a look at our website, EnglishClass101.com, or take a look at our YouTube channel. There is a video about present perfect tense I made a while back. So please check that out. And don't forget to download your free stuff from the link below the video on YouTube and above the video on Facebook. There's a lot. I didn't talk about them all today. But if you missed today's lesson, don't worry, it has been recorded. And we will be back next week. Next week will be, what's the date? I can't see. January 23rd? January 23rd on Wednesday. Cool. And the topic will be stative verbs in the continuous. What? What? What is happening? Stative verbs is what I have planned. So stative verbs in the continuous form. So a good example here is this verb wanting. Wanting, this is in the continuous form. Stative verbs in the continuous form. So like this is verbs like and have, do, and be that we usually use in present tense, but I'm going to talk about those in the continuous form, how to use them and why. So please join us again next week, January 23rd. That's Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is New York City time. And if you don't know your time, please Google it. So we'll be here. If you're not sure as well, please just set a notification and you can get an alert when we begin the live stream. So we'll be back next week. Please, in the meantime, check out the free stuff for download and enjoy your studies. As always, I hope your New Year's resolutions are going well. All right, I'll finish there. So thank you, everybody, for joining us this week. Thank you for liking and sharing the video and for sending your example sentences and questions. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your week, enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.